Ball knocked loose. White dive on it.
This is twice now the Celtics have been first to the floor. They try to
Save with Horford. Unbelievable.
Boston first to the floor. So good.
Brown fakes, fires up the three. Bang! Tatum dives on the floor. Everybody dives. Jaylen Brown with the flush. Blocked by Porzingis. He's doing it all. Tatum spinning, driving, layup. Washington drives. Blocked by White. Oh, what a block from Derek White.
Wayne Spooney here, first to the floor. I'm joined by my guy, Jake Eisenberg, but we have a very special guest. It has been far too long since we've had the NBC Sports Boston legend. If you know who we are, you know Chris Forsberg. Forsberg, how's it going, man?
What is up? I had to take a page out of the playbook and grow the mustache. So trendsetters all around.
Jack,
I don't know if I can find a beanie to.
I don't know. Well, like it's getting cold here, but no, you gotta. If you really want to get on my level, you gotta get the hair off too. Now we're going Derek White levels.
Don't make me get my Forsberg going over here.
Yeah, right. You gotta
get it
up. We could just, if you mashed us all together, it'd be one human being. But
that's
maybe
right.
you guys get some glasses.
Yeah. Look, I'm glad you brought the mustache up because I was like, I'm glad you joined the team, but you also had to grow an awesome mustache, which I guess I can live with. But as this is all I got. So we're rocking this. But yeah, we had to bring in the big guns with Chris Forsberg. He first, the floor is going to go head to head with the 8-9 matchup in the play-in tournament between the not even the 9-10.
It's worse.
The Miami Heat Invitational. I think they should call it at this point. But yeah, man, it's we got Heat Magic. Was there a team that you thought that was more favorable for the Celtics between the Hawks and the Magic yesterday?
They both are frisky in their own way, and I like it. I hate to feel overconfident with this team, and yet it's like undeniable. Those two teams are just not on the same level. Now the Magic might get there eventually, and if they were healthier, I'd probably be a little bit more concerned. But I just can't get there when you're 27th in offensive rating and you're going up against the Celtics. Good luck to you. Now they can be a pest, and they're going to push the Celtics in maybe a game or two. And but it's hard to envision the Celtics not having the firepower to close this thing out pretty quickly. And so I would have felt the same way against the Hawks. Like Trae Young would have one night and you'd be like, you just kind of shrug, and Dyson Daniels does all his stuff. But neither of these teams feel consistent enough to really push you in a series. And, that also assumes that the Celtics are locked in and focused and maybe most importantly, healthy. But I don't know. I don't get the sense being around them the last couple of days that they were sitting there like, oh, who's it going to be? It's more like, they do their thing, and they'll take the matchups as they come.
So the Celtics Reddit is spiraling a little bit because it's the Magic.
Really?
And I don't know if you saw Trae Young's quote, but he just said that they're a very physical team. I've had 2 teammates hurt this year in one game against them. There are a lot of plays and moments that guys want to try to be more physical to the point where it is not necessary basketball. And the Reddit, I think, is overreacting to that. Do you have it's basketball, right? Like guys can get hurt. I mean, do you evaluate like, there's a higher percentage chance we get hurt against the Magic, or is there just like they'll wear you out more than going against the Hawks would?
Yeah, anytime you face a physical big team, I guess that's going to be a concern. I don't know if it should be any more than if there was anyone else. If they drew the Hawks, I'd be like, oh man, Dyson Daniels is going to be a pest and chasing all over and diving for, you can always find something to get worked up about. I do think, like the Celtics have been bothered by size and physicality at times, and I do think it'll bother them at times in this series. But yeah, maybe if Jaylen wasn't going in with this knee injury, we wouldn't be obsessing about it. But because you're like already, oh man, they got this injury going into it, and maybe that's just on everybody's mind. And I think again, like the biggest thing is everyone sort of understands what's the one thing that can derail this? It's health, right? Like if the otherwise, it feels like the Celtics are in a really good spot to accomplish their ultimate goal. And again, I hate being like super overconfident, but when you watch it on a day-to-day basis, it's like this team's going to lose 4 out of 7. The team that's only lost 2 games in a row 6 times over the past 2 seasons, hasn't had a losing streak longer than 2. Like, it's just hard to envision them going into a spiral. And so, but yeah, they do got to be healthy, and probably maybe even a little bit healthier than they were last year.
Yeah, I think I understand the physicality and how the mental gymnastics can lead you to be a little bit more worried, but it's basketball. Like, I think we get a bit caught up in Giannis injuring us, but I can't really remember an injury actually happening. I know Rob got injured in that 22 series, but I think
Are you trying to hurt me?
yeah. Brutal.
That may have been a Rob.
You're not
That
even
may have
10
been more
minutes
of a
in.
Rob thing. I'm sorry.
Kevin
PTSD.
in the pool, like until they brought up Rob. No, you're right. But remember, Luke is ready to go into enforcer mode if somebody gets chippy. So
He let the dogs out. Yeah, and we're in the playback room streaming it last night. We come in. I've been stern, at least. I want the Magic. I think it's the more mathematically controllable matchup. But then Hawks go up like early. Everyone's like, "Ooh, maybe I don't know." And then Magic go up big, and then we changed our mind 4 times. But I think we got who we wanted here, just purely because, like as you said, with the offensive stuff. But just big picture a little bit. Like, is there anything storyline wise that you're thinking about? Like whether it's Paolo, Tatum, your colleague Eddie House versus all of Orlando. Like, there's a few fun ones.
He called me right at the final buzzer last night, and I was like, "Are you ready? Buckle up. It's it's gonna be a bumpy ride." Like, I don't know if maybe you guys will experience the same thing, and maybe it was that way in the playback last night, but like the Magic fans are all over our YouTube comments. They're watching like every segment on these shows. They're voting in the polls. Like, people in New England don't even vote in our polls, but we got people in Florida finding ways to vote in these things. So I'm excited that there's a little bit of a buzz down there. I do think that can work. One thing I think I probably underrate is that they did push Cleveland last year to 7 games, and like, look, Cleveland had its own injury woes, and they you can certainly wonder by the time the Celtics got to Cleveland if they had been healthier, if that could have been a more challenging series than we saw. But yeah, like, Banchero's going to be a star, and is he ready now to push a team like Boston? Just hard for me to think they have the horses overall compared to the Celtics roster, but like Cole Anthony was in the Garden for Game 5. I think that matters. Like, I love when guys go and watch and be part of championship experiences, like just to kind of soak it in a little bit. And, if the Magic are going to get where they want to go, some of those younger guys and I don't even know if we can call them younger at this point, but like they got to understand what winning takes and what it means. And like, Cole Anthony can impact winning, even though, he might be the guy who comes in and causes the chaos with the way he plays. And so, I guess that would be my big thing. There's just going to be like a chaos factor to this thing, and we'll see where that leads us.
Yeah, I think Cole Anthony probably won them the game last night. I mean, he was
100%.
awesome. They're so desperate for ball handling that like he comes in and it's like, oh my god, this is what it's like to have someone that
Corey Joseph isn't doing it for you.
That is fucking insane.
Crazy.
Corey Joseph is getting minutes in the
He started
25. He started a game in like the postseason in 2025. I didn't even know he was in the league until I watched a Magic game recently, and I'm like, what is going on? Is that the Corey? There must be another guy from like New Mexico or something that I wasn't aware of.
I think I must have wrote like 2012, like, ooh, Corey Joseph will be a good guy for the Celtics at the deadline or whatever. And I'm like, wait, it's 2025. How are we here? But
hey, he's younger than Drew Holiday. I learned yesterday. Yeah,
would not have guessed that.
Which says, I think, a lot about both Corey Joseph and Drew Holiday, and the way that they've been able to sustain him. I've always kind of liked Corey Joseph, but starting a playoff series against the 2025 Boston Celtics, I don't think is a place that you want to be. He was a team worst -12 yesterday, so maybe they play around with the matchups a little bit. I think starting, like, if we want to look at this series, the way that I've been thinking about it, it comes down to the Magic offense. And you mentioned it, Forsberg, they're 27th in offensive rating. I tried to look at it a bit more favorably for the Magic, just because they had the injuries in and out. Suggs is going to be out for the series, but so since January 23rd, that's when both Franz and Paolo had come back from their oblique injuries. still 24th in defensive rating according to Cleaning the Glass.
What's their 3-point percentage in that span? Is it still like 31%?
34.6.
Oh, so it's up a little bit.
But that is 27th in the league across that span as well. So, and then shot profile wise, people think about Missoula Ball as the offense, but Missoula Ball has a very specific way that he likes to play defense in that you don't foul, you give up specific shots, right? You run them off the 3-point line, protect the rim, force them into mid-range jumpers. And the Magic play just like right into Missoula's hands. They're 4th in mid-range jump shot frequency in the entire league, and they're 18th in accuracy there. And just that alone, it's because they can't shoot threes and they're not good at the rim, so they want to shoot mid-range jumpers. And it's like Missoula's just sitting there being like, this is the perfect. I think it's a bad one. They're just a bad offense, but I think it's also a bad matchup into the way that the Celtics play defense as well.
Yeah, and so like I always try to think like Joe was on. You heard part of my take today, and he was talking about the whole notion of there's something a team does well that every team does something well that you have to figure out. And so when you start thinking about the Magic, like what do they do well that could give the Celtics problems? And it's create turnovers. And the Celtics have been one of the lowest turnover teams in the league. Like with I think Oklahoma City is the only one ahead of them. They get to the free throw line, which the Celtics have been probably like almost jarringly good at not fouling. And they rebound, in which like Luke Cornett is finally grabbing rebounds, so it's like it's not as much of an issue as it used to be. And so I don't know, is there in a vacuum? Yeah, like there could be one game where Celtics miss a bunch of shots and like the Magic do all those things and the Celtics lose their mind and they fumble away a game, and maybe Paolo has a big night or whatever. But is that going to happen 4 times? Is that going to happen twice? Is that going to happen 3 times? Like it's just hard to envision that the things that they do well will fall into. Like there's other matchups that you probably look at and go, ooh, the Celtics might struggle with this, and Cleveland obviously, and like there's other teams that do stuff better that can match them with the 3-point output, and this team can't do that.
Yeah, and Suggs makes this team make a lot more sense, I think, on both sides of the ball too, because he's the head of the snake for their defense.
A lot less Corey Joseph when he's out there.
Yeah, one, there's way less Corey Joseph. They could probably cut him if Suggs is healthy. And defensively, he's the head of the snake. I think he's a good matchup for Tatum, like those sort of 6'4", 6'5", like strong, quick Dyson Daniels, same type of player that can get into Tatum's handle, bother them. But offensively too, like they just need someone who gets them into stuff. Like there's so many of their possessions. It's just like, it reminds me of like the Jays at their worst 5 years ago, where it's like your turn, my turn. Paulo's just like dribbling, there's nail help. He's got a defender. The entire defense is set. And he's just sort of like, am I seriously going to kick this to Anthony Black at the wing? Like, what is that going to do? Nothing. And then they end up with this, some mid-range jumper. And Paulo and Franz are good from the mid-range, but being good from the mid-range is still horrible offense. If you shoot 43% from the mid-range, that's great in a vacuum. But actually, macro-wise, that is terrible offense. And I just don't really see the way the Magic generate good shots against this Celtics defense. So who do you think, like, what do you think the matchups they'll start with? Like Jaylen on Franz, Jaylen on Paula? I feel like Jaylen's got to be on one of the two. Yeah,
I wonder, will they come right out of the gates? Will they try to protect Jaylen a little bit just to like as that need, because it's going to be gauging, like, where's he at with it? Is he the guy who scored 31 points 10 days ago, or is he the guy who just like you had to take off the floor against the Knicks? And so I think we all hope the rest is enough to get him feeling better. And I think that might be a little bit of an experiment. But again, like, what a luxury. You can just be like, yeah, Drew Holiday, I know you got to guard up a little bit, but like go defend him. Like Derek, go chase somebody. And those guys can play up, and Tatum can take on him more of a challenge if you don't have to tax him so much on the offensive end. And I don't know. Like I don't see. I'm a little worried about maybe sub rotations. Like, is this a Peyton Pritchard series where their size can go at him a little bit, and you probably got to play a little bit bigger. I assume they'll go double big a lot more. I think in general, Luke's going to play a lot more minutes in this postseason than last year. I was a little surprised to look back and see, like, he only played 10 minutes a game, I think, over 13 games or something like that. And it wasn't as consistent as a presence as maybe we've just come to expect based on how good he's been this year. So I think they'll have to scheme it up at times, try to stay bigger and, make sure that's good on the glass and taking away some of the rim stuff. But there's nothing like that, especially with that starting five, they can pick on, except that the starting five has been so clumsy overall. And it's like jarring that the numbers, even after a handful of games at the end of the season, never really stabilized beyond neutral. And, but I don't know, maybe it could just be they get to the postseason and they're like, oh yeah, we remember we're awesome. And they just, start kicking everyone's ass. But I don't know. I do need to see that. I guess it's weird that's my one concern is the starting lineup that dominated everybody last year.
Yeah, if we can survive the minutes from the starters for the first 6 minutes
we'll be
of the
fine.
game, I
If
think
we can get to the Luke minutes, we're okay.
Yeah, but
Luke
kind of as long as we can get to the Tatum and the exciting Whites lineup there in the second quarter. But I think you make a good point on Pritchard, and we talked about him for the 6 man of the year stuff and how much we trust him in the playoffs. And Spoonie was like, I think it's really matchup dependent for him at times, and this is not a great matchup for him. I think just the way the Magic will switch everything. And so where is Pritchard going to get the advantages? Is he going to be attacking Paolo, Franz, Wendell Carter, Jonathan Isaac in isolation? I don't necessarily see that as much. You're on it, though, with Luke Cornett. I think this is a huge Luke series. He's going to play more in the playoffs as a whole, but double bigs, Luke, Al, Porzingis, Luke, control the glass. And I'm just comfortable. You can switch a variety of positions, but when it comes to like Derek, I'm very comfortable playing in drop coverage and protect the rim with both Luke and Porzingis. You force them to try and challenge those guys at the rim, which they're not good at either this season. They're 20th in accuracy at the rim across the entire league since January 23rd, and that's not including a single game against Kristaps Porzingis, obviously. So play some drop, force them into those mid ranges, get Derek, with those rear view contests. And I feel comfortable about that. That is how I would do it. And Tatum, I wonder if he's going to want to guard Paolo a little bit, just because the Duke thing,
Duke connection, yeah.
But I think this is just a control what you control series. Don't turn the ball over on offense, and defensively, you just I think you can stay in your base defense because you don't. If you switch a little bit, then you maybe open yourself up to some offensive rebounding stuff from the Magic. And so I think I'm comfortable letting Derek be some point of attack, let Drew be point of attack, let Jaylen be point of attack, and then protect the rim.
I mean, just in general, I went back and looked. So last year against the Cavs, for all the road games they played, 91.5 points per game. And now we know it all slows down a little bit in the postseason. I didn't look at the efficiency numbers overall, but I'm assuming they weren't very good. You're just not going to win games against Boston when that happens. Like your role players and they're not probably like they were a little bit healthier last year. They're not that now you need the Corey Josephs of the world to play well in Boston. And even though he's been in the league 614 years, I don't know if that's going to happen. So I just don't trust them offensively enough. And like Magic fans can get all mad about that and be like, look at Paolo and Franz, they're awesome. And maybe if Mo Wagner was healthy, but I don't even know if that's enough. Like they just need more. They need more shooting in the offseason, and they need better weapons that where with all the attention that Paolo will eventually draw, where they can consistently. If they get 30, if they get the league average on 3-pointers, they'll be like a legit scary team. They're just not close to that yet.
Yeah, I don't know what happened to Franz's shot. I've never been a believer. I'm not a Paolo guy. I kind of don't see the ceiling that Magic fans will probably be in the comments yelling me about. Like I think top 20 guy, fringe all NBA. That's kind of more of the ceiling I see because the shooting is just not there. 72% free throw shooter, career 32% from three. Same again this year. And then Franz, I'm a Franz over Paolo guy, but I don't know what happened to Franz's shot. First 2 years in the league, 36%, and now he's sub 30 years in a row, and his shot looks broken. Problems. KCP would maybe be like a guy that I'm a little like Spoonie. I don't know if he's a guy that you're like, can he get going a little bit here?
I feel like that's a really good sign for the Celtics if we're worried about KCP, who's been terrible all season, getting going. What's weird about the Franz thing is that their offense, maybe it's not weird because he is a solid playmaker and, a 6'10" ball handler, but they their offense like nosedives worse than it is when Franz is off the court, even when Paulo's out there too. It's 7.6 points per 100 worse with just Paulo and no Franz. And it's 9 points per 100 worse without either of them, which I think makes sense. So yeah, they're going to need somebody to step up. I mean, Anthony Black was really good, but he's super young. I don't think you can trust him to like, man, this wouldn't have gone 7 if it weren't for Anthony Black. I just don't like envision saying that sentence. So I guess like when you're grasping for straws, it's like Cole Anthony is probably the guy, I would say.
Yeah,
the only guy.
Yeah, that's the guy. But at the same time, and so I've seen for Celtics fans, if you're someone that watched the game yesterday and we're like, oh shit, we got to deal with Cole Anthony, just take a step back for a second and realize that in the other conference that the 2 seed Rockets has to play against Steph Curry, Jimmy Butler, and Draymond Green. Like Cole Anthony is not a real problem. Like he can go off. He has gone off against the Celtics, but then you flip it on the other side. I think if the Magic have a hope, it's like, can they really impact the Celtics offense with that physicality, with that switch, and keep them off the 3-point line? But if they need Cole Anthony out there to generate offense, then that just opens the floodgates. That gives you the perfect entry point for the killer whale offense. I think Anthony Black is there, Corey Joseph, and Cole Anthony are those 3 guys, kind of like Tatum attacking Wendell Carter in space as well if they're going to be switching. But I think for whatever Cole's going to bring you offensively, I think that just is going to unlock the Celtics offense on the other end.
And I'm a big Wendell Carter guy. I always thought that was maybe like the secession plan. I think we've even talked about that probably like 3 years ago on here. And I don't know. Like it's good.
Now Horford's still better, I think.
It is kind of crazy. But yeah, like I still probably hasn't tapped fully into it. I thought he was pretty good yesterday, and like that's something to watch. But yeah, again, it's just there's too many little inconsistencies with their play that I just don't think they'd have to play a flawless series, maybe a flawless game to kind of really be to be in it, and just don't see it. And I feel bad saying that, and but like you said, it's such a shame that the West is going to be a bloodbath and beat up on each other, and hopefully whoever comes out of that comes limping in.
Yeah, I know that would be horrible if Oklahoma City had 3 7-game series straight. So what about KP on the defensive end? Like, who do you anticipate? Like, do you think we're just going to guard him straight up, like throw him on Carter or throw him on Batatse? Do you think they'll try to hide him on Corey Joseph and let him roam?
I would think the latter. I think, you put him on a non-shooter and, let him kind of do his thing where he can shuffle over and clog. And yeah, and I feel like that's been the roadmap. And again, like one of the things I think I like best about what the Celtics navigated this season was that they learned a whole different, like it wasn't like they had one way of playing last year, but I feel a lot more confident that if they have to audible, if something's not working, that they have just more in the toolbox this year. And some of that is just Luke's better and you feel more confident leaning on it. But I feel like they can switch it up a little bit, and they put themselves in compromised positions throughout the season to test stuff. And I just think Joe has a whole data set that he can lean on and say, okay, this isn't working. Like, what can we do? And they've got more ways to flip it up and scheme it up than anybody else. But it might just come down to like, hey, we're really good. We're going to do what we do. And if the Magic can figure it out, like, so be it, because you probably want to hide some stuff until the next couple rounds when you might have to scheme it a little bit more. And I don't know. You always say, right? Like, I always hate when teams adjust to the opponent because it's like, make them adjust to you. And until the Magic force the issue, I don't see the Celtics kind of getting away from their bread and butter.
I think like my heart deep down is kind of like, oh, there's a Jonathan Isaac, Paolo, Franz, like Wendell Carter, KCP, maybe like that's a big scary lineup. But then going back to what you're saying about hiding KP, it's like Jonathan Isaac shot 25% from 3. So it's like whatever he's doing to the Celtics offense on one end, you're just giving them a perfect place to hide, or to roam off of. I mean, really, you can roam off anybody.
Have they played that supersized lineup? Like, have we tried playing around with like the four like legitimate big dudes out there and what that bears? Like, I got to think the offensive numbers are terrible.
You got it, Spoony?
Yeah.
Hold on. Give me 1 second.
Yeah,
while
Go
we
ahead.
while we line ups and start pounding those guys in there and see what like it's. I'm guessing they didn't play a whole lot of minutes. Like
Sure.
it
What's
feels
the thing?
like Corey Joseph and
Yeah.
minutes. Oh no.
14 minutes.
Okay.
And they were a plus 3.3 together.
Oh.
So those 4 big guys. Yeah.
Wait a
The
minute.
defense was insanely good. Or no, the defense was terrible. And the offense was not great either. So yeah.
It was 14. It was 14
Yeah,
minutes.
14
So like,
minutes.
you know,
Yeah, it's nothing. It's nothing.
maybe they did it against a team that was nothing but guards or something because like that's somewhat deceiving. I don't know. That surprised me, but you know, maybe they need to keep that in their back pocket in case nothing else works against the Celtics.
Yeah, and the Jonathan Isaac thing, it's like you can see some clips of him being awesome, but the reality is he played 15 minutes a game this season. How many minutes did he play last night? He played 18 minutes a game. Like these players that play 15 to 20 minutes a game, I can't be overly concerned about. Like, is he going to be able to wreck a complete game or a series or multiple games? Like, I don't see that being a reality. Yeah, I think all three of us were trying to be, you know, relatively respectful. Maybe Magic fans will disagree in the comments here, but it's like the betting odds have the most likely outcome as a sweep and followed by 5 games, and then 6 games is like 7-1, 6-1. And they're smart people, the people making these odds. So yeah, that's how I feel. I feel I'm going to be picking a sweep. I don't know. You got a couple minutes here, Forsberg. So what's do you have a pick?
Yeah, I mean, like I hate being overconfident. I would think that I want to allot for the potential that there's just one game where they don't have it, or like the 3-point shot doesn't fall, or Paolo goes nuts, and so like it feels gentlemanly to say 5 games. It feels more with your heart to say 4, and like we'll see. The Celtics have not always been great. They do have the history. As much as they steamrolled through it all last year, they've had a history of, you know, a couple years back playing with their food, complicating the path, and you know, to the point where like we don't need to revisit 23 and 22. But like, yeah, like I hope they've learned from all that. I hope they understand the benefits. And while it's boring as hell this week, and I don't want there to be lulls in these series, like get it done, get Jaylen some more rest, get Al rest, like not the worst thing to be chilling at the Auerbach Center for more days, and then just, you know, brace for the bigger challenges, whatever's ahead with Detroit.
I heard Celtics in 4. I heard Celtics in 4 out
Yeah.
of Forsberg there, but
I mean,
Forsberg, yeah, I know we got to let you go. We're going to get into an ad read. Thank you as always. It was great talking to you. We'll have to catch up again sometime.
What are you guys going sweep too?
I'm going sweep. I'm going sweep. I was a coward last year. I've learned my lesson. This team 61 wins despite all the injuries and all the coasting. They somehow finished with a better net rating than Cleveland. I think this team's too good, too versatile, too experienced, too much talent. Are you someone that believes Jason Tatum has, you know, solidified himself as that top 4, top 5 guy? If you believe that, then this thing's not going. Like if it goes to 5, I won't be surprised because sweeps are hard. But I'm picking sweep.
Can someone explain to me? I've got a few more minutes. So I'm gonna abuse them. Can someone explain to me, like, so all the people are putting out their ballots and they're all like, you know, you got to reward SGA for being so good this year on the best team and putting up historic numbers. And but Jason Tatum is 4th on our ballot and was 5th last year. And like, are we just ignoring the facts that we're like totally contradicting every year? And the whole discussion about, you know, maybe Tatum's got to put more on his plate this year if Jaylen's compromised. It's like the dude has always had the potential to do it if he has to, but he makes the right play over and over again. It drives me insane, the narratives that we're coming with. I want to slap everybody. Like, what are we doing?
He is not getting enough credit for how many guys missed games this season. And my position is always, it is much easier to lose one guy for a long period of time than it is to constantly be playing with different combinations of your teammates throughout like the month or something like that. So what Tatum has done to be as good as he has been, as consistent as he has been on both ends, People are not giving it enough credit. It's like 1 minute he's passing to Drew Holiday, the next minute it's Baylor Shireman, and it's like that's the next game. So he's been amazing. Makes no sense to me that they make arguments out of both sides of their mouths. One set applies to everyone but Jason Tatum, and a different set to Tatum. It's nothing but hate.
And I love Giannis, but like, I mean, come on.
They suck.
Are we looking at the records? Like, are we looking at what successes breed? I don't.
Well, that's the thing. Are we looking at the records or are we not? Because then if we're not,
that's our whole argument against Jokic.
That's
so
fine.
Like, what are we doing? Like, which is it? Pick a lane. I don't know. Like, you'd think out of the 100 voters that get these votes that there would be some semblance of, people that understand, like, we need to, everyone keeps talking about, there's so many of these things don't have criteria, but start with a baseline. Like, just the players who we can't, it just drives me nuts. I don't know. I want to I'm glad I don't have a vote, because people would mock my ballot, and I wouldn't even be a homer vote. It would just be like, I'm voting with what makes sense. And
so where would you have Tatum on the MVP this year?
Third. And you know what? Like, I'm not saying you can make the case. There's no way of making the case to go higher, right? But I do think, like, undeniably, Giannis puts up great numbers, and playing without Lillard has forced him to do more. And even with Lillard, he was doing a lot. And I don't want to diminish like what he does defensively, because he's a wrecking ball when he needs to be. But if you're looking for a differentiator in those two, how do you penalize the team that has won 60 plus games 2 straight seasons versus a team that like plays in spurts and is going to be hard pressed to get out of round 1? And so I don't know. I just don't quite get it. And it's nothing against Giannis. It's just I wish we respected more the way Tatum plays, and maybe he's gonna have to be more of an asshole and just take on more of it. If Jaylen, I get the notion of what people are trying to say, but I don't think even if Jaylen is compromised, I don't think Tatum's gonna go in there and be like, oh, I need to dominate this like on my own. I need to score 50. No, he's gonna just make the right play and do everything that he does, and that will
win.
Yeah,
that's what he's gonna do.
Just win, baby.
Like, just win, baby. The Celtics are the balls. I think Dan Greenberg, our friend on the pod, likes to say a lot of the national media likes to pretend that most of Jason Tatum's career has just like not happened, whether it's the doesn't show up in big games thing, or he's not clutch, despite him like if you saw those numbers with him on the shots to tie fourth quarter stuff, like it's all kind of pretending like it's not happening. It's just not a mistake that they won 64 games, 61 games, even the year before, 57 games. Like this 4-year run that they've kind of put together here between the second half of 22 to now, like for most other guys, it's like, look at this guy. He's barely missed a game this entire time, and he's put up 27, 8, and 6 on 60% true shooting across 4 seasons. Like the level of durability, consistency in a sport and in a competition where the parameters are set. It's 82 games, 4 best of 7 series. Like if you're telling me that we've got 2 weeks to rest and it's 1 game, I can hear the argument for some other guys. But this is how the NBA is designed. Jason Tatum is like perfectly designed as a basketball player, between the durability, the versatility. He can scale up. He can give you 50. He's very comfortable scaling down as well, playing more off ball. He's become a better screener. It's too much nuance for some of these people, Forsberg. They can't handle it. I think that's the answer.
I think that we just need to make all second spectrum data available so that we can better, please take it down from the $2 million price tag or whatever it is at this point. Last thing, and then I'll hang up and listen. Are we sure the Knicks are coming out of round 1?
No,
Ooh.
I'm not at all.
Oh, I'll be surprised.
What are the betting odds on that one? Have you looked?
That's heavy Knicks. Heavy Knicks.
Massive favorites.
I mean, I get it. Young team, probably not ready for the moment. And yet, like, I can see Beef Stew just clotheslining someone early. I can see Cade having a big game. I can see the Knicks being like, we played 46 minutes a night for 82 games. And we're not ready for this. But probably won't happen. But I just, when everyone is already, we did a segment tonight and it was like, so what, not to look past the Magic, but what happens in round 2 against the Knicks? And I was like, are we going there already?
Cade's maybe been better than Brunson this season. Like I think there's like this could be his coming out party. Like Asar Thompson making Jaylen Brunson's life hell is on the table. I can see a path for sure. I can definitely see a path for the Pistons more than I can see a path for the Magic. I'll say that.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Understatement.
Yeah.
I see a lot of cats stumbling to Cade inside out dribbles. I'll say that. So we'll see. All right, Forsberg, we appreciate it, man.
All right, boys.
Fun as
Good to see you, man.
always. See
Hell yeah.
ya. We'll talk to you soon. All righty. Game time. There's nothing better than NBA basketball. A few weeks ago, I took a flight back up to Boston, had a few too many drinks, and got to watch my favorite Celtic, Baylor Shireman, tear apart the Nets. And you know how I got in the door? Game time. Game Time has a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams play live even easier. Game Time Picks filters out all the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. It was super easy to get my Celtics tickets. I just hopped on the app, searched for the C's, found the game I was looking for, and I was shown all the available tickets and the best deals right on my phone. Our curated deals make it even easier to find the best seats at the best prices. And maybe my feature's got to be the seat view. It showed me exactly what my seats would look like before I bought them. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CLNS for $20 off for your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code CLNS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game time. Boom. Thank you, Forsberg.
Nailed it. Better than I did yesterday. The music started playing and I just sat there and forgot that it was my turn to.
Wait a second. I haven't listened to that yet. I'm looking forward to it, but it's on the queue for the morning. You want to flip to the other side of the ball, Jake? We didn't really get a chance to talk about the Magic's defense versus the Celtics offense. So a couple high level numbers to kind of set the table here. If you take out that bullshit game where we didn't play our top six, the C's have a 116 offensive rating against Orlando this year, and that's one game without Jason Tatum, which is higher than the Orlando's 109 defensive rating, and it was 113.4, our offensive rating last season in 3 games. So we've not really struggled to attack this elite Magic defense.
Yeah, like that site Data Baller. You can look at the matchups.
Oh yeah, I'm always on there, man. It's amazing.
Yeah. I will say the Tatum versus Paolo and the Tatum versus Franz numbers are bad. 14 points per possession, 37% true shooting against Paolo. Franz is not much better from memory, but it's weird because I don't remember it's 14 points per 75 against Franz, 44% true shooting, absolute garbage. But you look at his offensive numbers against the Magic last season, and firstly, they won 2 of the 3 games very handily, and they had that one game where the Magic were talking shit in that in-season tournament game. And we all know that the Celtics don't respect the NBA Cup, so you got to throw that one out. That's the reality. Eric Weiss, shout out to you in the chat. We're going to be screenshotting. I've already screenshotted this one. We've got your receipts here. Orlando Magic in 5. Unsurprising. Always been a hater in the chat here. Eric Weiss, good to see you. But I watched clips of the one game that Tatum played in from this season, and the Celtics smoked them. There was no Franz in that game. The matchups from this season, it's completely useless almost. The last game, the Celtics didn't play any of their top 6. Tatum didn't play in either. Of those 2. So the one that he did play in, he had 30 points on 67% true shooting and was completely dominant. So going back to what I said before, it's I just think that he's leveled up again, especially in the back half of this season from the playmaking position. I don't know. Do you get a little bit worried that if they're just going to switch everything, that that it's just going to be a lot of Tatum attacking? They can start to force some turnovers on Jaylen and stuff like that.
No, not at all. Because if he's matched up against Franz or Paolo, especially Franz, I'm actually not really worried about him attacking Paolo. I suspect there's some I know there's some noise. Matchup data is a little weird. That means something's gone wrong in that offensive possession, and I don't expect us to be unable to get Tatum the matchup he wants. Like if you look at his numbers against Cole Anthony, 44 points per 75 possessions, 62.5 true shooting percentage. Like that's who he's going to be going after, those types of guys. Is he going to have some possessions against Franz where he needs a bailout shot that he misses, like a tough mid-range, or maybe he hits, 1 out of 5 or something? Sure. But primarily the Celtics are going to be looking for those mismatches in attack. He can go at Goga Batadze. He can go at Wendell Carter Jr. And you just hope you can isolate. Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, because I'm scrolling through the guys you're talking about as you go here, and like I think the Wendell Carter one, he's gotten so good at attacking bigs. Again, noise possessions, 43 possessions, 67.9 points per possession on 65.3% true shooting. So
That's
you're
good.
right. It's like, which guy does he want to attack? He's going to find those guys.
Yeah, exactly. And I think for as elite as Orlando's defense is, they are not really built to beat this Celtics team. We just got too much ball handling. Like Paulo is not a good off-ball defensive player. Like I think he's got size and strength, so he's pretty solid on ball. But you can kind of catch him watching the daisies a little bit, or make him run through off-ball screens. So I just think we have a lot of different ways we can attack these guys, and that's, especially once like they go into their bench and like without Suggs, all of a sudden Corey Joseph's playing. Like there's some ways to attack this defense. Like I think we'll need to make our shots. Obviously, it goes without saying, but I think that'll be especially important against Orlando because they are huge. It's going to be tough to get a lot of easy looks at the rim.
Yeah, they allow the fewest threes per game, I think.
Yeah.
In the NBA. So like that's a real thing. No question about it. I think about the switching defense, and I think about how it's going to be important to slip those screens and find guys on that short roll. And I think it's going to be a Luke series. Like, is he the easiest target on the short roll? Like, I know Drew and Derek are good at it, or Derek finding Tatum. You do it back the other way, or it's Tatum's getting sealing, but like Luke, he's gotten so good at just finding those little soft spots and making himself available for Tatum. Like, because the pick and pop game, not as much there for KP, but then, and Eric Weiss just popped up, KP's stats last 10 games, he's just been dominating 56% from the field. I mean, he's just been, whenever he's been on the court this season, he's been fantastic. And so it's like, okay, well, do they have any of their small guys out there? Is Anthony Black, Cole Anthony, or KCP, or Corey Joseph, Caleb Houston, or any of those guys out there? And are they switching everything? Well, if they are, then we're going to KP in the post. And if they're not, then they're playing drop, and then the pick and pop gets open. So that's going back to, I think maybe Forsberg was saying, it's like whatever they're doing, we know how to attack it. I think that this team has just been through so many versions of these defenses. Like I've seen Tatum be so good against really good defenses this year. I'm like, he was able to really cook and generate really good offense against the OKC defense this year, which to me was the best defense I saw this year.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Yeah. Without hot take. And so like without Suggs out there and that like really, really pesky point of attack defender to really disrupt the ball, I think that the Celtics are going to be able to run offense to a point. Like I think that the Magic will have some success defensively. Like I'm not saying that they're going to be completely shredded apart, but they're not going to look like the second best defense in the league, I don't think. And the other way around, I think that they might look like the worst offense in the NBA for stretches. Like they couldn't score for a quarter and a half yesterday.
They didn't crack 100 against the Atlanta Hawks. Who, I mean, like that's not ideal. To me,
and the Celtics series, without any of their top six.
Yeah, the Celtics without any of their top six. So, to me, this is going to be like a race to 100. Whatever team can get to 100 points is going to probably win that game. And I think that is a compliment to Orlando's defense. And it's like if you're angling to hold the Celtics to like low 100s, that's pretty damn good defensive performance. What's up, Nick NBA? Go follow him on YouTube. He's got an awesome YouTube channel.
Yeah, I watched the instant reaction he did yesterday, but no full breakdown yet, Nick. I was getting ready to steal your homework for this podcast, but I had to do all the work myself today. What the hell?
Yeah, bro. What's going on? No. One thing, so you were talking about Luke on the short roll. Magic limits threes, right? So they trust their length to be able to challenge and don't really send numbers to the rim. So are you concerned that Luke will not be aggressive enough if he's in the short roll? Like, there's going to be possessions he's going to have to take a dribble or two and go to the rim. Does that worry you?
I may be a little bit, but I have so much confidence in him right now.
Yeah.
Like his stretch over the past 20 games or whatever it's been, all season long, really. But I do think that he has really found himself offensively this season. Like, and a lot of that has become like the confidence of going to the rim, trying to dunk on people, the offensive rebounding. I think that I'm really intrigued because, I'm not ruling out the possibility that maybe we're overrating what he's going to be able to do in the playoffs, I think. But I'm excited to see what he looks like with this newfound confidence, newfound physicality. Because talk about the Magic being physical. We're going to go out there and be a lineup of, Drew, Jason, Luke, and another big. Like and then maybe Hauser out there. Like that's a huge lineup. Hauser's although I guess Drew's the shortest guy just listed there, but like he plays like a center. So like I think physicality wise, that these guys are going to be ready to hit back on the other end. But yeah, I think those slips are going to be really important. I don't love the matchup for Jaylen. I'll say that offensively. Like there's no really easy entry points. Obviously, the Cole Anthony minutes. I'd like to see Jaylen like kind of just marry Jaylen up to the Cole Anthony minutes because I think that's the perfect type of player for him to attack. I don't want to see him trying to kind of isolate too much against some of these bigger guys. I don't know, unless I'm completely wrong and the knee's just feeling good and he's just back to Jaylen. He's just crossing people up and hitting tough shots. But I'd like to see them be purposeful about the way that they use Jaylen.
Another dude I really want to see him attack is Caleb Houston because that guy wants no physicality. He shies away from it. I don't think he's got the athleticism to stay in front, and he's weaker. So I think if we can get JB kind of isolated on Houston for some possessions too, like Cole Anthony, it will go very, very well for us. But yeah, dude, you're right. Like it comes down to the knee. If he doesn't have the athletic pop, if he doesn't have the first step and the lift, like there's not going to be anybody he can really take. And then my biggest fear is that he like presses and tries to get himself going instead of playing within the offense. And if you press against this Magic defense, you're right. You're going to turn it over. Like you have to attack it intelligently. You cannot just try to ISO against the defense completely set without getting yourself a mismatch first. So I don't think Jaylen's going to do that. He knows the assignment, especially if he's not feeling great. I think he'll defer some, but I agree with you. I don't love this matchup for Jaylen. I think he'll have a lot more to do in some of other matchups or against the Hawks. I think he would have been extremely important against the Hawks, but this is just not really the game for him. Meanwhile, I think it could be a wonderful series for Derek White, especially if we get them into, I know it is, right? Especially if we can get them to get out of switching and into drop, and then he can just kind of walk into pull-ups. Like I think like Corey Joseph's going to be guarding him to start these games, Jake.
Yeah. I mean, even if they are switching, like make sure he's getting into that pull-up game when they're switching. Like I saw someone saying that Derek got a little hesitant towards the back end of the season. That didn't check out to the feelings that I was having watching the games, to be honest. But he's got Derek White being aggressive, Cornette being aggressive. Like if they're going to switch, then Derek White might get a matchup. And if they're switching, quick swing passes to the wing, Derek White, when he's attacking a closeout or, something like that before the ball gets to him, just playing with pace in the half court. Like Nick in the chat here is like, these are two really slow teams. Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be methodical, but, attacking those actions with a bit of pace and getting to that floater range, that little wonky floater that we love from D White. Yeah, I think it's a big Tatum Porzingis series offensively and finding the right matchups for Jaylen. I was looking at his post-ups yesterday, like 1.06 points per possession. That's 15th in the NBA on people that had at least 50 post-ups. Like he's become really good in that spot. And when you talk about turnovers, get him on that low block on one of right next to the baseline. That's the place where he likes to go to work now. He's better at playmaking out of that spot. He's able to get to those short shot making ranges. That's where I want to see Jaylen. He can get to the line a lot as well. So just use that physicality on, because they should have someone out there he can be physical with for the most part, right? Whether it's, as you said, Joseph, Houston, Black, Gary Harris, Cole Anthony. Those are 5 guys that they played yesterday that I think that Jaylen can do this.
Yeah, man. And I wonder how. I think we're going to set a lot of off-ball screens with whoever Batatse is guarding too, and Wendell Carter Jr. And just like, are you going to switch onto Jaylen Brown coming off of a pin down screen? And like the other option is you don't, and then your defender is chasing Jaylen Brown coming to his right hand out of the corner, and that's probably a dunk. So you do switch it. So now you've got Batatse on Jaylen Brown, and whoever was guarding Jaylen is on Kristaps Porzingis. And I just think there's a lot of unsolvable problems, even for the Magic's defense, despite it being really, really good. And I think a lot of that goes to Suggs not being there, because he solves a lot of their problems.
Yeah.
And he's just so disruptive off the ball too, man. Like, he's such a good defensive player that missing him is such a problem for them.
Yeah, I'm honestly so impressed that they were able to keep the second best defense in the NBA despite him missing so much of the season. Interestingly, yesterday, the Batata only played 4 minutes, all garbage time, if I remember correctly.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I don't know what I was looking at their stuff before, and like he was like 10th in minutes per game, and he played 70 games. So like obviously he's in the rotation a lot. And then across the last 10 games, Batatse still played in 9 of them and played 17 minutes per game. So I thought it was interesting that they didn't use him yesterday. I guess they liked the matchup, and obviously whatever they liked in the matchup that against the Hawks worked, because they dominated for the most part. I guess maybe they don't like him in that pick and roll coverage against Trey, or they don't want to switch him against Trey. But that goes back to exactly what you're saying. So I guess if he's going to play, are you switching with him? That just gives you another seal for guys to attack. Or if you're playing drop, then now we're getting into what you were saying with Derek White. So that's interesting. But if you don't play him, then you're playing Isaac's your backup 5. And then that provides offensive problems for the Magic. So I think the puzzle's not puzzling, dude.
Yeah.
Like, you got pieces from wrong puzzles. You're missing corners. It's gonna be tough to put this one together, I think.
Your dogs ate a piece, so
it's not good.
Yeah, man.
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say the same thing to you. I think that's really all I've got on the C's offensive side. If there's anything else you want to hit before we go.
Well, I was just going to ask you. The only other thing was going to be the other side of the conference. Like, we talked about every series on the last pod besides this one, and then we don't know the 8 seeds yet. But Rockets Warriors now set after yesterday's Grizzlies Warriors game. I'm not sure if you caught much of that one, but like I was pretty bullish on the Warriors about 3 weeks ago when they had that stretch where Steph had like 50 against the Nuggets, and then took down the Lakers, and then another monster game against the Grizzlies in 3 games. And I was like, just guzzling Steph Curry juice. And I was like, but man, it's really Jimmy and Steph giving you 70, and then fucking cross your fingers on the rest of the guys that are out there for any more points. And like this Houston matchup, I was like, I don't know how they're going to score, but in the last month of the season, the fact that they held onto the 2 seed, they figured out this double big lineup, Amen Thompson all over Steph Curry. I'm like, I don't know. I'm like wavering on how I feel about them.
Yeah, I think this is going to be an ugly ass series, honestly.
Yeah.
I could see both teams really struggling to score. And if that is the case, I would lean to the team with Steph Curry and the fucking foul baiter, Jimmy Butler, because he can generate offense against anybody by cheating effectively. But I actually think it's a really tough matchup for the Warriors because of what you just said. Like, Amen on Steph can really do a good job. I think the Rockets, they really need to get Draymond off of Sengun. That is like the most important thing for them to do, to me, is like get Sengun somebody else on him so he can go to work, because I don't trust him attacking Draymond at all. And they're going to need him to like not just generate his own looks, but somebody needs to draw to and move the ball. And I just don't know who else it is on that team other than him, unless like Amen Thompson just puts it all together randomly in the playoffs, which I don't anticipate happening. But I wouldn't be shocked if this goes 7. And I could really, they're like, this is truly a coin flip to me, which sucks if you're a Rockets fan, because you get the 2 seed and you're like, fuck, now we got this shit to deal with. But where are you leaning on it?
I will say I've bet on Rockets plus 1.5, because there was it came out and the Warriors were heavy, like pretty strong favorites. And I was like, I don't know, man. You're banking on Pods. You're banking on Moody. I love Quentin Post. Not sure you're my guy. He's been cooking again.
Like 25 minutes last night, didn't he?
Şengün in 93 possessions against Draymond, 22 points per 75 on 43% true shooting. So that backs up what you're talking about. But they just have waves of athleticism and size to throw at the Warriors team. The good news is it uses the first round. And so they have 2 days off between games 1, 2, and 3. And that's a mass. And they have 4 days off, thankfully, because they survived that Grizzlies game yesterday, because Zach Edey's hands stopped working for a vast majority of the game. But like the way that the Grizzlies were able to kind of go double big and dominate on the boards, and I was like, I like Zach Edey, but Steven Adams and Şengün and Jaren Jackson just, I don't know, just kind of let me down a little bit. And Jard did his ankle in the third quarter. It's like, if that doesn't happen to the Grizzlies, like somehow pull that thing out. But Eric Weiss, that's where my head's been at for most of this matchup. It's like, I trust Draymond, Jimmy defensively to just make Houston's half-court offense a nightmare. Like, just possession after possession, like Fred VanVleet and Jalen Green trying to do stuff. And Jimmy Butler, it reminds me of like the Celtics Heat stuff, where it's like, because the Rockets are kind of like the 2022 Celtics, but with a worse offense. And that in the playoffs if you're giving the Warriors turnovers, like, and you're giving them easy offense, things can start to get a little bad, uncomfortable. But I'm gonna stick with my Warriors winning the series, but I feel good about the Rockets getting it to 6 games for the plus 1.5.
Yeah, I think I'm Warriors in 7. I tend to agree with Z Gamer. Like, I think these are just going to be close games because neither team can run away from the other one by going on like a big run. And I just trust Golden State's guys in the clutch way more than I trust Houston's guys. So Houston's a really good team. These goofy Steven Adams is all of a sudden like a good center again, is like really fun. If they didn't have Udoka, I'd like really like their team. I just can't bring myself to like root for an Ime Udoka team. So
here's the thing. I'm with you. But watching them yesterday, I was like, what am I doing? I hate Jimmy Butler. I hate Draymond Green. Like, this is easy. I get that the Ime Udoka thing, and honestly, Anan in the Discord, like, I almost want to root for the Warriors just because he's been so obnoxious about how right he's going to be about the Rockets in this series. So that's almost made me want to go for the Warriors, but I can't get there. I hate Draymond and I hate Jimmy, so I think I'm going to be going for the Rockets.
Yeah.
But I think I'm still slight lean to the Warriors. But yeah, man, I'm excited. Like, of all the series, they're all going to be pretty good, I think, except for the Rockets. I mean, the Thunder and the Cavs and the Celtics series. And that you'll like the first day of the playoffs, all 4 series that day are just like banger series. I'm just like gonna be drowning for that one.
Yeah, I will be at my wife's grandfather's house for Easter, trying to like sneak watching games on my phone. So we'll see how that plays out. But it's gonna be great, man. The West especially is gonna be incredible. This might be the non-Celtic series I'm most excited. I don't know. Knicks Pistons has a lot of juice for me too. But
hell yeah, dude.
like that could be a really, really good one.
Man, I know Demon Llama from the playback stream. He lives in Detroit, but he's a Celtics fan. Like he's got tickets to Game 1 in Detroit.
Oh,
Like
awesome.
this is the first like Detroit basketball game that matters since when? Like 2000 and since the Dwight Howard era.
It's
Like I know
been-
they made the
Yeah.
playoffs with Blake Griffin, but they were like a fake 8 seed type of
Yeah.
team. And other than that, I'm forgetting a team, but I'm pretty sure that they haven't had a series that matters since like the 2010s range.
Yeah, 2010 they made, or 09 they made the finals with
Yeah.
Dwight, and I think he left in 12. So yeah, 13 years since
Yeah.
they've met. I'm sorry, Pistons.
Pistons.
The
Why did I say
Pistons
Dwight
play-
Howard? I think we've been
I
talking
don't know.
about the
That
Magic.
confused me.
Yeah. The Rip Hamilton era. The Chauncey Billups
that's
and those guys.
06, 07 is probably the last time they mattered.
Yeah,
I mean, they
we can
had
talk
like
about the
Greg
Magic all game.
Monroe. They had like Greg Monroe teams that were
So-
like
sorry.
fake 8 seeds.
So they lost in the Eastern Conference first round in 2008 and 9. And Tayshaun Prince was like the leader. That was like the last time that team made the playoffs. And then 15-16 lost in the Eastern Conference first round. Andre Drummond led the team in win shares.
Yeah.
Awesome.
There you go.
And then 18-19, they made the playoffs again and lost in the first round. And Andre Drummond also led the team in win shares. Rebounding,
Dog,
I'm
dude.
learning right now, I think impacts
Big time.
win shares too much because I'm seeing Jalen
Big time.
Duren is the top win shares earner for the Pistons this season, which is a nonsensical thing to think. But
Indeed.
yeah, there we go.
Yeah. All right, man. I got to get out of here. It's
Yeah.
getting late over on the East Coast. So, Jake, pleasure as always. And we are out. Peace.